Tuesday, January 3rd, and this is The 9.
Women in the workplace, what will change in this new year? We'll take a look at the trends and find out if females will be climbing that corporate ladder in 2012.
Next on The 9, a new report that takes a look at 2012 and how we use mobile devices, women in the workplace, and our homes. Well, with every new year come new trends from the workplace, the home, and the economy. And joining me this morning from Sphere Trending is Susan Yashinsky. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So we're talking about women, and we know we're survivors, but it's becoming more and more apparent that, women are doing more from the workplace, whether it's the home or the corporate area.
We're real excited. We've been doing a research partnership with Inform, which is a professional network for women, 1,800 members strong, to learn, to mentor, to connect. And this recent report, which is available on their website, is all about women in the workforce. 70% of American women now work for a wage, and that's up dramatically from not so long ago, the mid-60s, when it was less than 50%. And it's really affecting how we design our homes, how we design offices, as well as flexibility, how we're using social media, a lot of different things.
And so the earning power, you've found is making a lot of headway.
The earning power is making a lot of headway. Over 8 million women-owned businesses, generating over $1 trillion in revenue. Expected to be 57% of the growth of small businesses up through 2018. So significant force.
Well, when we started to see the downturn in the economy, a lot of women in the households started to, become heads of businesses. They started their own businesses, and now those have thrived, and those really sometimes, in a lot of cases, have become the main income for the family. They're
very right. That women have survived the recession much better than the male counterparts. More women are being educated in these days, so a lot of younger women coming into the workforce. And the great news is that women have always needed more flexibility because they're caregivers and they're doing multiple things. Right. And now even men of younger generations want more flexibility because they're also sharing in the household. So technology, mobile, the ability to work anywhere, anytime, any place is really helping all people in the workforce, and even people of older generations. 30% of people in the workforce are caring for an aging relative right now, which is a whole new nuance that we haven't had previously.
And so many people are working out of their homes. A lot of people I know have their home-based business, and they do it whether it's through the internet or their cell phone or whatever. And we were just talking about the cell phones. I mean, we can't live without our cell phone. But a lot of people do conduct their business out of their homes.
Oh, out of the homes, out of the car. When you guys walk the auto show, you're going to see a lot of new things happening inside the cars as a mobile office. And furniture industry. We're a national consulting firm that monitors both consumer and design trends. And recently at High Point, 61% of people work on their laptop or computer in the bed. And so bedroom furniture has really evolved to enable us to work in any place again, any place, anywhere in the home.
Yeah, and a lot of these people, were let go for whatever reason, whether, it was when we had the massive laying off of people, and they started to work out of their homes, and they continued to do that. They chose not to go back to the workplace.
Yeah, and the new reality is when you walk, we travel the country looking at new home designs, and two-person offices is really the new reality because both people are working inside the home environment. And so a lot of nuances in the office environment. We're seeing a very feminine aesthetic come into office furnishings so that it's not just a work environment, it actually feels more like a home. So it's a lot of positive attributes that women bring into the workplace.
Now let's talk about Gen X, and Gen X being so stressed out, and people moving up in the corporate world and the hierarchy, but so many people feel overstressed, and they need to balance that home and that workplace, and it's tough. People who are still in that area.
Very tough. Interestingly, University of Michigan recently released a study that Gen X, even though they've been hit the hardest by the recession because so many of their homes are underwater, they actually have the best attitude because they're it's a generation that's used to kind of doing more with less, and so they're very good at survival. But you're right, they are stressed out. Cell phones, mobility, the ability of social media as a connector, all these new technologies has really helped them deal with a lot of things, and the new flexibility in the workforce. Everybody doesn't have to be in the office every day.
Right.
And so this added flexibility is really, in some way, alleviating some of that stress. And they're the great bridge. You know, they're really the key people in the workforce now that are bridging the older generations, now that we have 4 generations in the workforce, which we've never had before,
right.
and this new young generation that's coming into the job market now.
All right, so good information, and hopeful for some, you know, who
Very
are kind of
hopeful,
on that corporate wheel still. All right, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Okay.